This is for ending welfare, transitioning to a competitive charity system where we get rid of all of welfare, government welfare, and the tax code and everything, and we transition to the charities doing it. Now, this structure, it is well structured, it is funded, and there's a lot of safeguards around the whole thing. Let's go through the bullet points. I'll probably go down a couple rabbit holes, but that's all right. This video is going to be probably 10 to 15 minutes. You probably already see how long it is because you're watching the video. You probably saw the time on it. Okay, 100% of current welfare will stop, even within the tax code. So no more aid for dependent children, no more child tax credits, no more deductions, no more exemptions, no more credits for child care expenses. All that goes away. No more whatever the case may be, child tax credits and the like. All that goes away. Plus food stamps, welfare, direct welfare, housing allowances, all that goes away. We want to take all that money. We want to reduce down the tax, eliminate that tax, determine how big that tax is, and then require individuals and businesses to contribute that amount to charities. So we get rid of the mandatory tax and exchange it for a mandatory donation to a charity. So it's not a donation; it is a tax because it's mandatory. But donation. I mean, charities usually get donations. So I'll say tax or donations. I understand it's mandatory. I want to achieve 5%, half coming from individuals, basically from their income, and half coming from businesses based off sales. Now, every individual and every business gets to select what charities they wish to fund. And that's going to be highly important based off their charitable philosophy. So, big time importance there. But everybody has to contribute. There's a minimum. 1% of GDP is going to be a head tax. So so there's a minimum tax that you have to do. That's only about $1,200 to $1,500 a year, so maybe $100 a month. So we're not talking huge dollars here, but everybody has to contribute. But we do have a minimum. Maximum is 5% of your income, or whatever the sales tax is needed to get that 5% of GDP as a total. Now, everyone decides which charitable distribution association, that's the funding mechanism, to contribute to. You have to choose one of them, and you have to give your fair share to that. Each will have its own charitable philosophy. So conservatives will group together, liberals will group together, people who like the Heritage Foundation or people who like the Brookings Institute. There's a lot of associations will try to get that money to distribute that money wisely. So right now, the individual being able to dig deep and learn what charities are doing, that's kind of hard. We have designated people within these charitable distribution association groups that's going to look deep into a charity and make sure they are doing the most good. So everybody decides which charitable distribution association they will give to. Okay, 20% will go to the federal, 40% will go to the state, 40% will go to the local. That's just the percentages I came up with. It could change if necessary, but I don't want more going to the federal. I want maybe even that going down. But I think that's probably good percentages there. CDAs fund charities within all areas of need. So that's where the money is going to come from, is CDAs. And they fund the charities. So the charities aren't going to the general public anymore. They go to the CDAs. If a CDA says, hey, we need kind of more money, they go to their members and say, hey, I know it's supposed to be, let's say 3% of your income going to us. Will you please go give higher? We have a lot of needs out there where you give up to 4 or 5%. So that might happen as well. But if a person knows that the the charity that they're giving money to, their charitable distribution association they're giving money to, is doing really good, they're willing to give more. Right now, a lot of people don't want to give to government because they know that the welfare system is doing actual harm to the people. A person in need selects a CDA, a charitable distribution association, with a like-minded charitable philosophy to ask for help. So the person in need, they have about a dozen different charitable distribution associations they can go to for help. So they pick the one that they think is going to work best. And if they don't like it, they can try it out for a while. If it doesn't work for them, they can go to another one. But they have to have the money there. So if one has 5% of the money, another one has 10% of the money, that one with 10% of the money can help more people. So somebody might say, no, we can't help you, we're out of money. You go to these other people with the money. So that's a check and balance. That's a big, important checks and balance. The AOs, okay, let's talk about CDAs, the charitable distribution of money, the money people. They assign people in need to an assessor organization. Those are the caseworkers. There would be organizations for that. So it would be you don't just go to one person. You got a lot of specialty people. One would deal with finances, one would deal with work, one would deal with education, one would deal with just living, their getting their life coaches and the like. There's a lot to it, AO, and they will have some power. And if they abuse that power, they can let people know. The person in need can change AOs or CDAs. They can change caseworkers or the money people. So there's checks and balances all over the place. So we want them to have control because somebody who is in need did something wrong. Maybe they didn't do anything too wrong, but they did something where they need to be controlled a little bit. Or we need to have them giving some labor hours back into the system so they can help. So we want people to get better, get to be independent, or a good level of interdependency. So AOs are the caseworkers, assessor organizations. The AO, as the caseworker, I'll just say caseworkers, examine the entire family dynamic of the person or family in need. So there's a lot to examine there. The caseworker subjectively determines, and that's what's wrong with the current welfare system. We don't have anybody that can individually, subjectively determine the best path forward for the people in need. If you meet qualifications in the welfare system by income or whatever the case may be, then you get that benefit. I think that's what's causing the major problem right now. That's what this whole thing is based off of. Individual subjective determination determines the best path forward for each person and their families. So what's the best pathway forward? An AO directs and has significant control of the goods and services from charities for the cases they manage. So AOs, the caseworkers, have to be respected, or the charities aren't going to get the money. The charities can't just give money out to anybody, give food out to anybody. They need to really go through the AOs. So that line is respected. In my opinion, that needs to happen. I'm not a big fan of just giving anybody money who says they're hungry. I want to see that they are working towards a plan. They have a plan. They're doing. Obviously, I don't want anybody to starve. That's what this whole system is, so people don't starve or out in the cold and the like. But I also don't want somebody taking advantage or being abled in their destructive lifestyle. So let's keep on going. A caseworker may direct the education and work of the people they manage. So the person in need, if they ask for help, they do have to pull back on their level of control of their own lives. Hopefully, that's why you want to pick one that has a charitable philosophy that's best with yours. You want to pick a Protestant if you're a Protestant. If you're Catholic, you pick a Catholic. If you're Jewish, you pick a Jewish person. That's the caseworker. Not just religion, but your mindset, whether you're liberal or conservative, whatever you are, you want to pick one that has the same lifestyle, because a caseworker is going to have a lot of control over you depending on how much you need to have that control over you. So it might be just down on their luck and you're doing everything right, and the AO says, the caseworker says, you're doing a lot of stuff right. We're just going to give you some benefits. I see your path forward out of poverty and out of need. That's fine too. But some people are way down on the wrong path, taking drugs, being lazy, not doing the right stuff, getting into crime and the like. So, yeah, the caseworkers are going to work strongly with parole officers and the like. We go to competitive prisons with competitive parole officers, and when crime and need intermix, we're going to have them work well together. And they may direct the lifestyle choices. That's going to be a big problem with some people. I think it's absolutely positively necessary. If it's a big problem with you, give to an AO that doesn't do the lifestyle choices. I want to do that because I think that's what's going to get somebody to get better. Lifestyle choices are being too lazy, not wanting to go out and work. Crime rates, drugs, and the like. Smoking, just treating people badly. If you're not going to start living your life where you can get better, then I don't want to be contributing to you and enabling you in your destructive lifestyle. Okay, that's why charities are so much better than welfare. Nobody can demand help from you. You have to ask for help and show their appreciation and show that you were working towards that. Okay, don't get caught up on that too much. If you don't like it, go contribute to charitable money people that are not going to do this, that want to do it your way. I want to contribute to the ones that do it the way I want. So I'm not going to get into what I want all the way right now. I as an individual will contribute the way I want it done. And ratings will prove it out. Results will prove things out, and I might change my mind. You might change your mind. We'll see. Okay. So they direct the lifestyle choices of the cases they manage, of the people they manage, when they determine that poor choices lead to poverty, poor health issues, or otherwise negative effects. Like, one of the things I really want to do is, if you're overweight, you get within weight. You go on a diet. I don't want to contribute to anybody who's drinking alcohol, anybody who's smoking, anybody who's doing illegal drugs. I want to not deal with those people, and hopefully they'll come to us and say, we're not going to do that anymore. Will you please help me? That's the goal. But I do not want to enable somebody, and I think that puts them down a bad pathway. But you could be very different, and you can contribute. So I contribute to the charities I want. You contribute to the charities you want, and we have two different pathways. That's what competitive charities is all about. I do it my way, you do it your way. Or at least I contribute to the ones I want, you contribute to the ones you want. The person in need can always ask for another CDA, AO to assist them. So if they feel like they're being abused, they can switch. And if there's nobody to switch to because nobody else has the money, I'm sorry, but you don't get anything. It seems heartless, but if you do the things that you should be doing to get you into a good, productive lifestyle, be part of society, then people will give money to you, assist you to get better, to be independent. Businesses may pay their contributions, their sales tax revenue and stuff, contributions in products and services, which may be very dynamic. But that there's going to be checks and balances, because that's obviously can have some abuse. There's going to be a lot of checks and balances on that. But I want that to be all happen without saying no, because there's abuse, we can't do any of it. No, it can be very dynamic, but with a lot of oversight. And not just from your people, but other people. The rating system is going to be dynamic in that, in that visual knowledge of all that stuff going on. The business needs to have a CDA to sign off on that worth. So if you're not getting the money, you're giving services, you need other people to say, yeah, that's really worth it. And there's a rating system oversight. Let's keep on going. We're going long video here. Every charity regulation organization must establish a charity economy, which is, in part, a system that asks for charitable labor hours from those being assisted by charity. So, a big part of the competitive charities is a dozen different competitive charity economies where, hey, you're asking for food. I want you to go in and do some labor hours doing landscaping, taking care of the poor, painting, going into a nursing home and doing some personal aid, going from house to house of people who are in need and helping them out. There's a lot of things that people need. People in need, very numerous. Their needs are very numerous. You get qualified, you get licensed, you get qualified to do personal health, personal aid. And obviously, that's education. You need some of that. So get qualified. And if you're not qualified for many of these things, your labor hours is going to be used to get qualified. Work, education work, slash work models, what we're doing. So they assist other people until they'll learn things on their own and can do it on their own. But they're working. We don't want anybody, in my opinion, I don't want anybody getting benefits without actually working, with a few exceptions, obviously. The charity economy assists those in need, or it could go to a broader area where economy is very dynamic. Several entire rating systems examine every part of the charity system. There'll be a a rating system for the money part, rating system for the charity part, and a rating system for the caseworkers, all that. And they will be able to look into it from many perspectives. As a competitive rating system where you get to choose what rating system you want to go out there and look at things. So you can have about a dozen different people looking at every aspect of this. I said people, organizations with people, and that could be part of the labor hours, is looking deep into what's going on. So that's going to address fraud, abuse, self-dealing, or just how good is that charity doing. If you're helping the same 100 people and they're not getting out of the system, that's not a very good rating in my opinion. It's not a very good result. You want people who are going to start getting to be independent, getting education, work requirements, and the likes. So let's keep on going. A lot more can be seen at Haley2024.org. Until the next video.